Maybe we're just having too much fun.
It was no secret that when Splatoon first came out, while the core mechanics of the game was great, the amount of content that the game offered was not, or at least that is what we thought. Nintendo has been taking a lot of flack these past couple of years with the poor sales of the Wii U to their somewhat boring E3 Direct, but the way they have handled the DLC of Splatoon is brilliant. The numbers don't lie either. Nintendo recently announced the Wii U has sold over 10 million copies, which is not great considering the PS4 just sold 20 million copies in just 2 short years, but Splatoon has sold nearly 2 million copies. That is pretty impressive, selling 20% of the console's ownership for a new IP. Word of mouth has definitely helped, but their DLC strategy keeps players playing. Drip feeding their content has reasons for myself to go back and play. Even if it is just a gun or a map, a player will think to themselves and say, hey, I want to check out that new gun, it looks pretty cool. Even if the gun isn't very good, the player is back in and will probably pick up the game again, even if it is just for a day, which is great because he or she is not trading it in. Free content is okay, developers. It is nice every once in a while to have a little reward for buying your game. Now, I understand that making games isn't cheap, but offering day one content is crap and you know it. Don't make me pay for what is on the disc. You're not fooling anyone. That being said, you are probably asking, was Splatoon's DLC on the disc as well? Honestly, I have no idea. They could have waited and had everything ready for launch, but the way they decided to approach it was better for everybody. And it's all free. Now, if it had been where gamers had to pay for this content, then that would be a completely different story and Nintendo would look really bad. I mean, look at Destiny. People love that game. It's not for me, but Bungie hasn't exactly been fair when it comes to content for that game.
It was supposed to be the end. You were ready to let go. Not without a
Even the 2 expansions were lackluster, to say the least. CD Projekt Red offered 16 free pieces of DLC as a thank you for buying their game. Now, most of that content was new cards for Gwent or a new weapon, but at least it's something and a reason for someone to check it out if they haven't played the game in a while. It's just smart thinking, and honestly, common sense. Developers need to take notes from the way Splatoon is being handled. In a way, it is almost like an early access game that was full price, and the rest of the game would come down the road eventually. Free, of course, since we have already paid for it. I honestly would like it if multiplayer games did this. In theory, the game would have longer legs because there's always DLC on the way, and it would keep people coming back. Splatoon had its first major update with new gear, weapons, and modes. They listened to what people wanted and put it in. Games need to do this. Put up the base game with mechanics working properly, and then watch it grow, listen to the feedback, and fix it. That is exactly what Nintendo has done. Now that the game has been out for a while, they could start charging people for gear or weapons, and no one could be mad because they have put so much effort into keeping people playing their game and making it fun. I mean, come on. A Link or Mario costume, people would eat that up. This strategy has worked for me because I don't even like multiplayer games that much anymore, and I've had a blast with Splatoon. Nintendo seems to know how to do DLC properly with their last few major releases. People loved Mario Kart's DLC, and DLC is still on the way for Super Smash Bros. Splatoon could have been the next Destiny. Great mechanics, but not enough content. Nintendo made sure that was not the case. With their constant updates and free content, they have turned around Splatoon and made it to one of this year's best multiplayer games, and hopefully the start to a really great franchise. One can say that Splatoon has been a refreshing coat of paint.